Have you ever wished you could turn back time? Just for a day, an hour, or even a minute? In the sleepy town of Oakhaven, nestled between rolling hills and a whispering forest, lived a young boy named Leo. Leo didn't just wish for it. He found it, tucked away in the dusty attic of his grandfather's old house. It was a clock, a magnificent grandfather clock made of dark, polished cherry wood. But this was no ordinary clock. Its hands, elegant and slender, ticked not forward, but backward. Leo's grandfather, a man with eyes that held the twinkle of 1,000 stories, had always been a mystery. He was an inventor, a dreamer, a man who spoke in riddles and left behind a house full of peculiar gadgets. After he passed, the house became Leo's summer playground. One rainy afternoon, tired of video games, Leo ventured into the attic. Sunlight struggled through a single grimy window, illuminating dancing dust motes. And there it stood, in the farthest corner, draped in a white sheet like a forgotten ghost. The clock that ran backwards. He pulled off the sheet, and a soft chime echoed in the silence, a sound that felt both ancient and new. The clock's face wasn't marked with numbers, but with strange, swirling symbols. And the hands, they were definitely moving counterclockwise. A small brass plaque at the base read, "To mend what is broken, find the moment it shattered." A classic grandpa riddle. Leo, intrigued, traced the symbols. He thought about his biggest regret, a fight he'd had with his best friend Sam just last week. They hadn't spoken since. He closed his eyes and wished with all his might to go back to the moment right before their argument. When he opened his eyes, the attic was gone. He was standing in the park, the sun warm on his face. Across the field, he saw Sam kicking a soccer ball exactly as he had been a week ago. The clock hadn't just turned back time, it had transported him. This was his chance. Instead of arguing over whose turn it was with the ball, Leo smiled and said, "Hey, want to practice some penalty kicks together?" Sam's face lit up. The argument never happened. That evening, as they shared ice cream, Leo felt a warmth that had nothing to do with the summer sun. He had mended something broken. The power was intoxicating. A failed math test. Leo went back, studied the right chapters, and aced it. A scraped knee from a bike fall. He went back and took the safer route. Life became perfect, flawless. But a strange thing started to happen. The world around him began to feel thin, like a photograph that had been copied too many times. The vibrant colors of the town seemed a little duller, the taste of his favorite pizza a little blander. The joy of his successes felt hollow, unearned. His friends started to seem distant. How could they understand his perfect life when they were still dealing with their own messy, imperfect ones? He couldn't share the thrill of acing the test because, in this reality, he'd never struggled. He couldn't complain about a scraped knee because it never happened. He was living in a world he had curated, but he was living in it alone. The laughter didn't seem as loud, the friendships not as deep. He was an editor in his own life, cutting out all the bad parts, but he was also cutting out the texture, the lessons, the very things that made life real. One day he decided to fix the biggest mistake of all, his grandfather's passing. It had been sudden, a quiet departure in his sleep. Leo loved him dearly and missed his stories and riddles more than anything. Standing before the clock, he concentrated harder than he ever had before, pouring all his love and grief into his wish. He wanted to go back to that morning, to wake his grandfather up, to warn him, to change fate itself. The world dissolved and reformed. He was in his grandfather's house, the scent of old books and sawdust in the air. He ran to his grandfather's room. The old man was there, sitting up in bed, a book in his lap, smiling. "Leo," he said, his voice as kind as ever, "I was wondering when you'd figure it out." Leo was speechless. It had worked, but his grandfather's smile was tinged with sadness. "You've been busy, haven't you, mending things?" He gestured to the window. Outside, the world was grey and faded, like a washed-out watercolor painting. The birds were silent. The trees were still. "Every time you erase a moment," his grandfather explained softly, "you erase the life within it. The struggle, the learning, the pain. It's all part of the tapestry, my boy. A life without mistakes is a life without lessons. A heart that never breaks is a heart that never truly loves. You can't just keep the sunny days and throw away the rain. The world needs both to grow. He looked at Leo, his eyes full of love. The clock wasn't meant to erase the past. It was meant to help you understand it, to give you a second chance not to change the outcome, but to change yourself. Tears streamed down Leo's face. He finally understood. The clock wasn't a tool for perfection, it was a tool for empathy. He had been so focused on fixing his mistakes that he forgot to learn from them. He had smoothed over every rough edge until his life had no grip, no substance. He hugged his grandfather, a long, heartfelt embrace that he knew he couldn't keep. "It's time to go back, Leo," his grandfather whispered. "And this time, live forward." With a heavy heart, Leo returned to the attic. The world outside his window was still grey and lifeless. He stood before the clock, the beautiful, terrible clock that had given him everything and taken it all away. He didn't wish to go back to a specific moment. He simply placed his hand on the polished wood and wished for things to be as they were meant to be. He closed his eyes and let go of perfection, let go of control, and embraced the messy, unpredictable, beautiful reality of life. The chimes rang out, this time moving forward. When Leo opened his eyes, he was back in the dusty attic. Sunlight streamed through the window, and the dust motes danced with vibrant energy. He could hear birds singing outside, the distant laughter of children playing. The world was back in full, brilliant color. He ran downstairs out of the house and saw Sam, who was still mad at him. It hurt, but it was real. He walked over, took a deep breath and said, "I'm sorry." It was the hardest thing he'd done all summer, and it felt more rewarding than 100 perfect test scores. Mending their friendship the hard way was the real magic. Leo never used the clock again. He left it in the attic, a silent reminder that the best way to mend what is broken is not to erase it, but to grow stronger in the broken places. Because time, he now knew, is meant to move in only one direction, forward. Thank you so much for watching. What's a mistake you've learned from? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more tales that make you think. See you next time.